Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living live virtual service. I'm John Randall, and I'm providing music today. And I'd like to begin my opening song with a Cat Stevens classic and fitting for the times we're in. Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday it's gonna come. But out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Oh, I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Come on the peace train. Oh, peace train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Come on now, peace train. So get your bags together, go bring your good friends too, because it's getting nearer, it soon will be with you. Come and join the living, it's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer, soon it will all be true. Oh, peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Oh, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Come on now, peace train, peace train. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. But I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? But out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Oh, peace train, sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Come on the peace train. Oh, peace train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Come on the peace train. Come on, peace train. Yes, it's the peace train. Come on, the peace train.
Come on the peace train. I agree with that wholeheartedly, John Randall. Good morning.
Good morning.
And happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday.
Thank you so much for welcoming us into this space with a song of great inspiration and certainly wonderful lyrics to remind us all that we have the ability to ride on this journey in a state of peace. So I know that you have great songs planned for us throughout our service today, and I really look forward to you sharing them with us. Everyone, let's welcome John Randall into our realm and our service for the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We'll see you in a bit, John.
All right.
Right, welcome once again. And so, yes, as stated in the comments, it's a very appropriate song for today and the times that we're living in today. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and it is my pleasure and my honor to spend this time together with you as each of us have chosen today to come together and anchor ourselves into the awareness of the power of the divine. and our ability to use it in a way to invoke peace on our planet, to get on that peace train and to come out of the darkness and to make a difference on our planet. We do that through our thinking, through our actions, through our beliefs, through our reactions, our interactions with the very thing itself, life. And we do that by constantly doing our best through intention and purpose to align and tune ourselves into the power and the presence of the only thing that is. That is called source, the thing itself, life, and even the word God. I'm going to put on a screen our first slide to welcome us into this morning. And a big hello and welcome to each and every one of you, the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles community. We come together on Sunday mornings and oftentimes begin our service with the action of Namaste. Namaste is an honoring of the things that we share together as far as the force and the source of life itself. The actual literal meaning of the word Namaste is I bow to you. Having us look at that today as not an act of supplication, but as an act of honoring, of acknowledging and witnessing the oneness that exists in and as all of humanity. We welcome you here today, if it's your first time or if you've come here before, to know that as a community known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, we teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. This is a compilation of all the great teachings in the world put together by Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes and was published in 1926. The book is almost 100 years old. The very essence of this teaching is that there's only one thing taking place in the universe. It's one energy, one source, one life, one mind, and we each individualize that power because it's placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you and me. And that we get to experience the magnificence, the glory, the divinity of that as we practice tuning in to the qualities that we are imbued with as an expression of it. It includes peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. But there's so much more. And so as we choose to live our lives aligning with these higher ideals, then we emanate and radiate out into the universe the vibrational frequencies of those. And because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, we attract back to us more and more and more of the very thing that we desire to express and be. It brings us back to that age-old statement that if we want to change our life, it's incumbent upon us to change our thinking. The vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We come together today in this format to provide a space, literally, a virtual space, but a mental and emotional space where we're all safe here to open up to that greater spiritual awakening, to tuning in and learning or being reminded of something that we knew before about who and what we are as spiritual beings, and not only to just see that and know that for ourselves, but to see that and know that for others as well. We are a community that welcomes all races, all religions, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, and all abilities. For we stand with you, and we want you to know that you are safe here, meaning that we're not here to attempt to change you. We love you, honor you, respect you, and revere you just as you are. And so we welcome you, and let's all say together, as our founding minister, Dr. David Walker, would say each and every Sunday morning, we welcome one and we welcome all. Let's just feel the energy of that welcoming for a moment. Not just what we've put out to others, but as it's being stated in the privacy of your own home, feeling it as you and I are each being welcomed into this space and this acknowledgement of life itself. We continue in opening our service with a morning ritual. It's called Calling in the Light, and the purpose of this ritual is to acknowledge and honor the light of life that exists within each and every person. to build upon the welcoming one and welcoming all and that great little graphic of the different expressions of humanity on the screen. This morning, we shall light our candles for the flames of faith, the various different religions of the world. And so as we virtually light the candle that we saw on the screen, let's know that we do this for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, that which is known as the natural way. We also light it for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. Continuing, we light this candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion, as well as for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law, as well as for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion, as well as all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love, and all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. And for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, which honors the path of unity and of peace. And for all forms of New Thought, that which we practice here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, and other related centers for spiritual living. And we do that for New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And so, let's bring all those together and focus on the last lighting of the candle, which we shall call the healing candle. And I ask you to take a moment and think of someone that you'd like to silently put into the light of the healing flame, which may and should include yourself, so that all beings of light may experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. The prayer and affirmation that I have for us today is by Mahatma Gandhi, who's very well known for saying, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And as we add onto that, choosing to be the change that we want to be in the world, let's express this to ourselves and to others, remembering that we are connected in that energy field that is transcendent of time and space. And it's this: I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. For my wisdom flows from the highest source, and I salute that source in you. So let us work together for unity and for peace, as we all choose to get on that peace train. In the vein of peace, we're going to wrap up our ritual by singing the song, "Let There Be Peace on Earth." John will come back on and guide us through that, and the lyrics will be on the screen. John?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so let's all know together that peace indeed is transpiring by means of each one of us. That in this very moment, the intentions that we have set for a greater experience and expression of peace is making itself known by means of each one of us. This ripple effect moves out into the universe, and a difference indeed is being made because we are consciously aligning ourselves with this one power, this thing, this life force itself, and with the depths of faith of a mustard seed, indeed. We trust that it returns to us multiplied abundantly and does its part on this planet. We let it be as we say together. Amen, and so it is. Thank you, John. A very beautiful rendition of Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Thank you.
So I know that you've got a song for us now that I'm excited to hear you sing, and we've played it in rehearsal, and it's such a great selection. And when you and I were choosing songs for the day, we both got excited about it, and the title is What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. So ladies and gentlemen, everything in between and beyond, I present to you John Randall.
Please sing along if you want to. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, oh, but just for everyone. What the world needs now, what the world needs now is love.
And it's already manifesting itself just by your singing it and our singing it along. I was certainly singing along. And we all know that there is too little of it at times in that human way, but certainly from love as a spiritual entity, a spiritual energy, there's never there's never not enough of it. It's always there. So, John, thank you for that song. I know you enjoyed singing it, and we enjoyed singing along with you.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
You're welcome. Good. So we'll see you in a bit. I love that song, and I really wanted John to sing that today so that we could all be reminded that no matter what's transpiring in the physical sense on the planet today, both individually and collectively, that we have the option before us to just remember that what the world, us, and all of us need is more love, sweet love. You've heard me say this countless numbers of times, and we all always play along with that definition. And we just finished a class that talked about it a lot, which is that love, not in the human sense, but from a spiritual perspective, is the self-givingness of spirit whose desire is express itself in terms of creation. And the way that it does that is through us, through you, through me, through life itself. Dr. David Hawkins says that love is misunderstood to be an emotion. It's not an emotion, it's a state of awareness. It's a state of being in life itself. And so today let's remember that it's up to us to remember how we choose to be in the world. And so without further ado, let's begin our message for the day. And today is a day of fun slides. And so here we go. Let me get it going. So here we go. And so we continue with our theme for the month of March 2022, which is spring forward, fall back, live in the now. I invite you, wherever you may be sitting right now, if you can look out the window. I've got great views out the window right now, even though I have curtains in certain spots to keep the lighting in here in the right way. You can see that spring has sprung here right now. And it's a reminder of the renewal of life itself and the options that you and I have to renew our mind, to begin to participate in the budding of new growths of ideas in our life. So let's remember today to spring forward, fall back, but most importantly, live in the now. And we do that by tuning into an awareness, as Dr. David Hawkins told us in that quote, to how we're living our lives. Today, I want us to ask ourselves, who and what are we attracting into our life? Understanding that the universe is governed by spiritual law, as I spoke of earlier. And so it's important to know that the way that state of our awareness, that state of our being, is attracting into our life a reflection of who we know ourselves to be as divine beings and living accordingly. And then also ask ourselves, then who and what are we repelling? Knowing that at all times both are taking place. And to try not to look at either of those experiences, the yin and yang, the flow of life itself, with arrogance or pride or joy, other than to look at it as a direct revelation of the evolution of your consciousness as an individualized expression of the totality of mind itself. And so today we're going to look at how we are using our mind and how we're willing to open it in a new way so that we may more consciously than ever before live in the now. Ernest Holmes tells us that when one realizes that everything is mind and that nothing moves but mind, and that the only instrument of mind is thought, which is contemplation in some form or other, they will see that nothing can permanently heal unless it be accompanied by right thinking. Holmes tells us that healing is a revelation of our divine nature. That is the right thinking. Right thinking, as we know through the act of spiritual mind treatment, the tool that Dr. Holmes created for us to use to align our thinking with our divine nature, its entire activity is about right thinking, meaning aligning ourselves with the divinity that we are. God is, I am. Therefore, I tune into that through the act of the realization or the declaration. And then I wrap that up in a sense of gratitude, one of the most transformative qualities that exist in life, and then release it to the universe. In other words, let go of it in mind so that the law of life itself can do its part. So today, let's choose to realize at a greater level than ever before that everything is mind. I know for myself, when I learned that the first time in this teaching, it was a big, big, big idea to wrap my head around. And I've learned that it's fabulous and really fabulous to keep letting it be a bigger and bigger and bigger idea. So let's remember and realize today that everything is mind and that nothing moves but mind. And that the only instrument of mind is thought, which is contemplation in some form or other. And as when we become in a greater awareness of that and realize it, that we'll see that nothing can permanently heal unless it be accompanied by right thinking. Let's have a deeper insight on that. Let's take that and then open ourselves up to a deeper way of looking at it. David Hawkins tells us that every thought, for us to know that every thought, every action, or feeling creates an eddy in the interlocking, interbalancing energy fields of life. Let's just take that in. I know we've heard this quote before, but it spoke to me so profoundly yesterday in a new way as I was preparing for today. That every thought, every action, every song sung of what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Every decision, every feeling that we all have, as well as everyone else has, creates an eddy, a movement of energy in the interlocking, interbalancing energy fields of life. In this interconnected universe, every improvement that we make in our private world improves the world at large for everyone. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Now, these are big ideas, and today it's my goal and objective for us to have had a kaboom moment of having our mind explode in a new way simply by hearing this information, this spiritual truth, by hearing this spiritual wisdom, by not just saying, girl, I've heard that before, but to really open our mind up in a new way and to begin to see life in a new way and see the role that we play in life in a new way so that we have an impact that is positive, if you will, affirmative, reflective of our divinity in a way that the ripple effect through this interlocking, interbalancing fields of life energy gets better and better because we are participating in it. And then let's remember that we know how to do that. And we know what our role is in it. And to remember that every single thing in life is energy. It always has been, and it always will be. This class series that we just wrapped up last week, the E² book, the 9 experiments to prove that your thoughts have power, was so powerful because it gave all of us the opportunity to use unique, fun, simple, creative experiments to remind us of the things that we know, the very foundational fundamentals of the science of mind and other related New Thought teachings don't change. They're all the same. Our thoughts create our reality. We live in a universe that's interconnected, that the universe is governed by spiritual law, and should we desire for there to be more good in the universe, it's incumbent upon us to express it, and we do that by not trying to harness it and bring it in. We do that by revealing, letting out the good that is already within us, good being a synonym for God, God being that impersonal, infinite, universal presence. Everything is energy, and your thoughts begin it. Your emotions amplify it, and your actions increase its momentum. Let's each say that together in the my statement. Everything is energy. Please say this along with me. Everything is energy. My thoughts begin it. My emotions amplify it, and my action increases its momentum. And I know that as we each make those statements out loud, we can feel the energy moving off our being as it is from these 2 different examples on the screen of energy moving out of the crown chakra on individuals. And as we remember this, let's also remember and know that as we're doing this through our thoughts, our actions, and the life changing, it's important to remember, and as that is unfolding, the universe says yes. That we live in a universe that is responsive to what we are choosing to be, whether that choice is conscious or not. So let's choose to be conscious as we live in the now and say yes to the universe. Meaning, let's say yes to all that we are imbued with. Let's say yes to our innate nature, which is to propagate good. Let's say yes to becoming more and more aware of who we are as a divinely loving being, living in peace. And know that just simply it's through that awareness and that intention that things begin to change. So today I ask yourself, what question in your life are you ready to say yes to? It could be the question of, am I ready to live my divinity in a greater way? It could be, am I willing to let go of the past? It could be, do I believe that I'm up for the challenge of being a conscious evolutionist? It could be, is today the day that I'm willing to forgive myself for everything prior to now? And then to ask ourselves, so then what can we do today, right now, to live more in the now? The way to do that is by tuning into the power and the presence that is within us. We do that by becoming more acutely aware of how we see life, to becoming aware of what lens we're viewing life. And I'm not speaking solely of the lens through our eyes. I'm speaking of that both literally and metaphorically, of how are we seeing, observing, taking in not only the external of life itself, but the internal of life itself. Because the spiritual truth is that when we change the internal of how we be, see, show up in life, then of course the external changes. And so today is the day that I invite each and every one of us to know that it's time to see life anew. To not get sucked into time itself, but to choose that this moment is the moment to see life anew, and we do that by seeing life a-now. By consciously and intentionally choosing to live in the now. And let that be. And then tune into the now again, and let that be. And then tune into the now, right now, and let that be. And then tune into the now, right now, and let that be. We have the opportunity always at life to make a choice, and to remember that we have the ability to make a choice, and to remember that we're making those choices whether we're aware of them or not. But today, let's make a choice to begin to see good in a new way, to see the good through these rose-colored lenses, if you will, to see the good in life because it's there. And the greatest way to do that is to live in the moment, to feel the good in the present moment, to let it be a simple act of knowing, of breathing, of turning inward, of changing our attitude, of changing what we're choosing, and then living in faith. And knowing that even if what's been in front of us of late seems challenging or difficult, or even a pain in the patootie, we're at choice. Jane Lee Hogan tells us that sometimes, most often actually, what looks like an obstacle in life, in your path, is actually a gift meant to move you in a different direction. Now, I'm using this statement tongue-in-cheek because the obstacle what looks like an obstacle in your path is actually a gift, It's not meant to move you. It's giving you the opportunity to move. You and I have the opportunity to see that which we define as an obstacle. Let's just use, for example, today, there's the LA Marathon here in town, and several of us are going to the museum. And I had a conversation with my rideshare partner yesterday, the one and only beloved Sandy Rovetta, and we were discussing ways to get there. Ways, W-A-Z, funny, right? But not ways. But routes to take there. And the reality of it is that there are only certain routes we can take because roads are closed, right? And so those are an obstacle literally in our path to where we want to go. And as we were discussing our routes to go, I had looked it up on the map, she had looked it up on the map, and at one point I just said, let's just take the route that we know will work and plan accordingly. And what that tells me in that scenario situation is the different direction that we're meant to go in situations like that is by choosing to see good in the situation, that there is a route. It may take us a little longer, but as long as we live in the now, we're fine. Because each new now moment will show up as we have the opportunity to be present with each other, expressing the presence of the divine on our beloved little road trip, going in a completely different direction than we would have had there not been the LA Marathon. And so as opposed to seeing all of the congestion that is unfolding in this city right now as a pain in the patootie, what it really is that it's a reminder to us that there's vibrancy and there's life taking place in the city of Los Angeles again. Hallelujah for that. So today, let's all choose to know that the time for conscious co-creation and transformation of energy is now. One of the exercises that we used in this fabulous class series that we just did was looking at the transformation of energy, of understanding that yes, everything is energy, it is all energy, and it's always transforming itself. And one of the great examples was we saw a banana. Well, we didn't see a banana, but in the example was a banana on a tree that a monkey swung to grab. As it grabbed it, it went to move to another tree, which created energy, and then it went to eat the banana, which created another energy, and it moved again, and there was kinetic energy while he was eating the banana, and then he let go of the peel of the banana, which created another transformation of energy as it moved. And then through the consumption of the banana itself, there was movement of energy, both internally and externally. And we all know how that ends there. Then that banana moves through the monkey, which then becomes fertilizer in the ground to transform itself for growth of the next expression of a plant. Energy is moving and transforming at all times. You and I have before us today, in this moment, in this now moment, to choose to be a conscious co-creator of the energy of our life as it's making a difference on this planet. Let's choose, you and I, today, to commit to living in spiritual wisdom and to be appreciative of the moment that we have right now and of the journey that we've each been on in life to be here right now. And to know and to remember that the mechanical laws, as I just spoke of with the energy of nature, they're set and immutable. We don't have to do anything to make them work for us because they're already working through us. And so to know that the mechanical laws of nature are set and immutable, but the spontaneous recognition of these laws give us the power to bring them into practical use in everyday life and experience. Let's you and I choose to let today be that day. Because if we think about it, there were some times when things were not so good as they are today. I came across this wonderful little graphic, this animated graphic that we used back in the depths of the pandemic. And we were in a lockdown, and it was reminding us of what's not locked down. Family, kindness, love. And let's look at that through the lens from where we've come. And these things are true today just as they were then, that we have a choice to know that learning is at our disposal, Conversation with loved ones is at our disposal, and even ones that we don't know that we love yet. Imagination is at our disposal. Reading is at our disposal, learning and growing. Relationships are at our disposal. Praying is at our disposal. Meditation is at our disposal. And the list goes on and on. Let's let this be a reminder today for us, not only what is an opportunity before us to see things anew as we were doing each and every day during the times we were in lockdown, but to also cherish and appreciate those times that we've moved through them, we've lived through them, and we are where we are and here today. And it's from this place today and in the moments of now that we get to move forward on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Remembering that it begins and ends with the spiritual awakening part. And the way that we're called to be spiritually awakened today is by living in the now and using our mind in ways to bring forth the fulfillment of the things that we desire to have in life. Deepak Chopra says there's 7 principles for a spontaneous fulfillment of these desires. The first is to remember that you are a ripple in the fabric of the cosmos. The second is that through the mirror of relationships, you discover your non-local self, meaning that which is not bound by earth, time, and space. And then number 3, we master our inner dialogue. And as we master our inner dialogue, we begin to have not only spontaneous fulfillment of our desires, but the journey that we're on of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening becomes more broad and more deep and more fun. He tells us that our intent weaves the tapestry of the universe. I remind you that so often in this philosophy, faith, and way of life, we think that we have to create the very things that we desire to experience and express, but we don't. All that's required of us initially is to set the intention, because inherent within that intention is the fulfillment of its desire. And he tells us to harness our emotional turbulence. Not always an easy thing to do. Raise my right hand for that. It can be quite difficult. And yet, what I realized yesterday in a situation of some emotional turbulence, and I remember thinking to myself, boy, this is a waste of my energy. I need to shift and change. And so I chose to do that. And I jumped in the car and I put Sweeney in the car and I went out and rolled the windows down and let the air blow and just gave myself the permission to have a new perspective, and through that allowed the energy of the universe and the depth of the power of what I know to be true to transform. And it was through that moment of spontaneity that the desire that I had for a new experience, by choosing a new attitude and engaging in that, my emotions were no longer turbulent, which then was a result that I got to celebrate the dance of the cosmos. In other words, let's get out there and have fun with this energy that we are connected with as both people and life itself. Number 7 is to remember to access the conspiracy of improbability and open our minds up as to what we think is indeed possible. These 7s are inclusive of things that are the key to living a synchro destiny and a spontaneous fulfillment of desires. But for you and I to have a fulfillment of our desires, is important for us to remember that we have to tune into and define those desires. And that's done by aligning ourselves with our divine nature, what Ernest Holmes called healing. Remember, a revelation of an alignment with the divine. He tells us then that healing is accomplished by uncovering, neutralizing, and erasing false images of thought and letting the perfect idea reflect itself through the subjective mind, the mind that is the soul of you and of me. And so, Today, let's remember to live in the now, we must breathe. So I'll take a deep breath in and just breathe and trust that right where we are right now is where we need to be. And if we want to be somewhere else, then we can take a deep breath and exhale and change our thinking, change our perspective, change our attitude. And we do that through healing. And so let's remember to use this affirmation for healing to create this new pathway on our journey. To say out loud, I am loved, I am enough, I am beautiful, I am forgiven, I am worthy, I am abundant, I am grateful, I am me. Each layer of this affirmation for healing is a tool to bring us back into this now moment. I invite you all to use it, to keep it, and to let it be a tool that creates transformation for you on and on and on, and to remember that we cannot use up our creativity. In fact, as Maya Angelou tells us, the more we use it, the more we have it. It multiplies itself abundantly in our life because that's the nature of the power of life itself that is known as you and it's known as me. Make it a great Sunday, and so it is. And so John's going to come back and join us to sing a song that we're all very familiar with, but will remind us of the opportunities that we have to use our imagination to make a difference on this planet. He'll be right back with us.
There I am. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now.
Thank you, John. So the universe wanted to have a little bit of fun with us there. And so John sang our Conscious Giving song for us. And so he's going to get to share another song with us as we do our Conscious Giving. And so a great example for us to roll with life as it shows up and to take a deep breath and live in the moment and appreciate things as they come. We now have the opportunity to participate in Conscious Giving for our center, which is the opportunity to support this community financially. And the ways to do that, you can go to our website, csl-la.org, and click on Donate, or use the app in the App Store, which is known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Click on the upper left bars, the screen will come up, it'll guide you through that. You can mail in a check. That is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. Or you can call me on my phone. There's the number there, and I can handle it for you privately. While we take a moment to do that, John is going to take us through a song that he also has prepared for us today called Imagine, that originally written by John Lennon. And so, John, take it away.
Imagine there's there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine other people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill, die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. Need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. We'll live as one. We'll live as one.
So lovely.
Thank you.
Just love that song. I could hear that song over and over and over and over and over again. And oftentimes I do. So, yeah. So thank you, John, for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for welcoming me and
You're
letting me be
very
a part of this wonderful service.
well. You're very welcome, and it's just a real joy to have you here and just be in the presence of your sharing your gift. And I can just tell how much you love to do that, and it's very evident. And thank you for that. What a great example you set for all of us. So, thank you. And so until we see you next time, thanks.
Yeah.
Also, a big thank you to Travis Smith for being our audio technician, and to Robert Hensley, who works as our administrative assistant and social media guru. And thank you to them, and a thank you to all of you for being here. Reminder of some things that unfold this week. If you're going to the museum today with us for the community gathering, and I'm not aware of that, if you haven't let me know, please send me a text or an email. Text actually, or in the chat window now. So I have a list of who all is coming. The Wednesday morning, we have our midweek meditation that takes place at 8:30 to 9 o'clock, 8:30, 8:50, something like that. It's a great way to anchor into a remembrance of who we are. Stay tuned for the next couple of weeks. We'll announce when the next class will begin, as well as I send out a daily text every morning at 7:30. That's a 320 count affirmation or some new thought to prompt you to look at how you're going to think about the day. And we send a newsletter every week, so you can sign up for that and Right now, we're looking at going back in the building on Easter for a service there that day. So some details will get worked out on that this week. So I'd love to know from all of you if you would plan to be there. So feel free to send me some information on that so we can get a sense of what we're looking at there. But right now, that's the plan, to have our first service back in the building Easter Sunday. So with that, I think that wraps it up. If you've joined us through Facebook today, thank you for being here. In just a moment, I'm going to do a meditation/prayer. My tongue's getting tied. And then we're going to say goodbye. And those of you that are on Zoom can stay online with us. And we'll do a really brief hello. And then we will do a little quick goodbye. And then we will journey off to the Academy of Motion Picture Museum, Darling. So without further ado, let's have an affirmative prayer. And so today, I affirm for each of us that we trust the power itself, that we live in the now with intention, with clarity, with determination. We each let go of any old thinking that hasn't served us, and we've just let it hang on because we were afraid of letting go. But we let go right now. We release it, let it fly away. And the reason that we do that is because the nature of nature is to replace it, to fill it up with its own qualities. And so we open ourselves up today to let go of any need, any false idea that we must create the very things that we desire to experience in life. And remember that we are co-creative with a principle that is infinite and boundless. And so we steer clear of the delusion of those things that we think are impossible and open up to what is possible. And so we choose today to see good. We put on our rose-colored glasses, not filtering out life, quite the opposite. Steeping into and seeing and being the force of life itself. And so the universe dances a gig through us as we let it, unencumbered, because we know who we are. We're divine beings of clarity, of purpose, of willingness, of intention, of excitement, of joy. And as we choose to live this way, it emanates out into the cosmos, dancing upon the cosmos, leaving good in its ripple effect along the way, and returns to us multiplied abundantly, then giving us the opportunity to grow more and more and more upon that. And what that is the thing itself doing its thing. So we do ours and let it be. We let it be, and we let it be, and say together, and so it